Although Ford's works team withdrew from rallying at the end of 1979, that wasn't the end of the Mark II Escort's world-class career. Instead, for the next 2 seasons, the Rothman's team produced victory after victory, all round the world. Between March 1980 and November 1981, the Rothman's cars, all prepared by David Sutton Motorsport, started 15 World Championship rallies, winning 4 times and finishing second on 5 more occasions. Not only that, but in 1981, the ever-popular Ari Vatanen won the World Drivers' Championship. The Rothman's team also dominated the RAC British Open Rally Championship in those 2 years, winning 3 times from 10 starts. It was a colourful period in the Escort's rallying career. Ford and Rothman's backed the David Sutton team so well that he was able to run 12 different car identities in that time, and to use top drivers like Ari Vatanen, Hannu Mikkola, Pentti Arikala and Malcolm Wilson to get the best out of the cars themselves. To get the Rothman's Ford programme underway in 1980, the Ford works team provided parts, service vehicles and sometimes the loan of mechanics. But most of the effort came from David Sutton Motorsport and his small team of mechanics, who were based at Acton in West London. Rothman's first involvement with the Escort had been in the 1979 Acropolis Rally, where Bjorn Valdegaard won outright. Later in the year, the Rothman-sponsored cars also won in Quebec and in Cyprus, and took second place in the Thousand Lakes. It was an encouraging start. In 2 very intensive seasons, when Rothman's sponsored cars started no fewer than 50 times in 33 rallies, David Sutton built his cars to well-proven specifications. A 1981 Rothman's car, he always insisted, was not nearly as specialised as Borum's 1979 cars had been, and he never built lightweight tarmac specials. Because Rothman's approach to marketing was very aggressive, the team always had a very controversial reputation. No matter, it was the first time the Escorts had appeared in the same consistently colourful livery for such a long time, and all the drivers gave it their best shot all of the time. In 1980, Hannu Mikkola and Ari Vatanen, both still contracted to drive for Ford for the entire season, drove the Rothman's Escorts in British and World Championship events. The season started badly when both cars crashed on the same corner in Portugal. But 2 months later, Ari Vatanen won the Acropolis Rally, his first ever World Championship success. In 1981, Rothman's made an even bigger effort than in 1980. 3 drivers were hired: Ari Vatanen, Malcolm Wilson and Pentti Rikkilä, with Ari being set an ambitious target, which was to win the World Drivers' Championship. For such a small team, this looked like mission impossible at first, but it all came right in the end. Against the might of full factory teams from Peugeot Talbot and Datsun, Ari started no fewer than 10 World Championship rounds. The flamboyant Finn excelled himself by winning 3 times on the Acropolis, the Brazilian and the Thousand Lakes events, and finishing second in San Remo and on the Lombard RAC. Even so, there was a nail-biting end to the campaign. Ari was obliged to compete in the Ivory Coast Rally, where he damaged his car and finished 9th, 22 hours behind the winner. Then he needed a high finish, first or second would be nice, on the Lombard RAC, to be sure of beating Talbot's Guy Frechelin to the title. David Sutton built him a brand new car, VLE 756X, for Ari to take second place, and the title was his. After just one event, that car was retired and soon went on show in the National Motor Museum. Some Rothman's cars work even harder than others, and rally enthusiasts got to know their identities. 4 of them in particular had quite a following. SDW 201R, a number which had already appeared on Bjorn Valdegaard's safari-winning Escort, started 7 events in 2 years. UYY 256S, once known as Black Beauty, had 8 more events in its Rothman's career. EUW 938V, one of Ari Vatanen's most successful mounts, started no fewer than 11 rallies, won twice and finished second 6 times more. Lastly, EUC 958V started 8 times in 1980 and 1981, this being the only car which David Sutton kept after his 2-year programme came to an end. There's no doubt that in these 2 crowded seasons, the Rothman's Escorts had to work very hard for their living. If they weren't being driven flat out on tarmac, they were banging and crashing over rough stages all around the world. If they weren't trailing dust clouds, and that dust tended to get into everything, they were slithering and sliding over snow and ice. It was an exciting and stimulating time for Escort lovers, and none of us is likely to forget it.